my family will never be safe. I must go and do. And it's like, why are you doing that, bro? You could easily just sail off into the sunset and have a life. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Hope Views, and today we're going to be doing a discussion on the Northman, talking about the likes, the dislikes, and ultimately where we fall on the movie. Subscribe to the page if you haven't so far. Most of what we do tends to be reviews and reactions, so if you like reviews and reactions, then you should like the page. We're going to be talking about the Northman today, not doing too many spoilers, but just kind of discussing the movie and where we fall. On my scale, I give it an 8.2 out of 10, and I will say that this is top tier cinema. It's not like a Netflix movie or anything like that. Like, it's very artistically done, very well made, and for the most part, it was a movie that I found enjoyable. But we need to break down the likes and the dislikes, and really in that dislike section, talk about what kind of turned me off about the movie and why, if I'm making an early list, it's not high on my early list. So let's do the likes. The thing that I like the most about the movie is that it is technically terrific, beautifully shot. As I watched it, I remember thinking to myself that this is violence captured beautifully. There's so many tracking shots of action that's happening. There's so much fighting that goes on throughout the movie that is depicted very well and captured very well. I watched it on the big, huge TV in the front. We got to see all the different graphics, you know, HDR plus and all that. It was great. It was a great viewing experience, and I really enjoyed watching the movie, taking in all the visuals. It is well acted and directed. I enjoyed every piece of every performance, from Ethan Hawke to Alexander Skarsgård, Nicole Kidman, who really impressed me with her character and where she started and then where she went. Because I didn't watch any trailers for this movie, I just came in cold. It took me a few minutes, but after about 10 minutes, I knew kind of the direction the story was going, and that is kind of more in the dislike category of the movie. But let's stick to the likes for right now. A thing that I really gravitated towards when watching the movie is that I'm a video game player, right? So I played the God of War franchise. I played all the old stuff on PlayStation 3, PlayStation, I think 2, PS Vita. Like, I played every single game in the God of War franchise, but that was all Greek mythology. And if you know, 2018 God of War came out and it was based on Norse mythology. So I really enjoyed the way this movie took the mysticism, magic elements of Norse mythology and blended it with reality. So much so that there were sections of the movie that as I watched it, I was like, is he really talking to someone right now in a cave, or is this in his head? These visions that you're having, like, are they actual things that will come to pass, or are these visions just like hallucinations that he's having? All those things were on my mind as I watched, and I really enjoyed throughout the movie as they talked about prophecy and then things would come to pass. And it was just very cool to see everything unfold the way it unfolded, and it really blurred the lines between reality and mysticism. But I'm gonna use that point right there to turn from my likes into my dislikes, because as much as I enjoyed the mysticism and the fact that it was kind of real, but then also like, maybe he's just hallucinating and making things come to pass. Getting into the dislikes, I think to myself, this is not my type of weird. Like, that's why I wouldn't put it super high on my early 2022 best movie of the year or favorite movies of the year type list, because I'm not a person who is very much into wizards and magic and mages and all the different things that come along with Norse mythology or several other mythologies. I just don't like the way they translate to film. I can get into Greek mythology on film, but this to me felt like almost Lord of the Rings type territory. When we start talking about dukes and kings and lords and magic and sorcery, that stuff loses me. It loses me very fast. So while I was very much impressed by the way it blurred the lines, you know, I thought that was done very well. The way that they would just throw in this imagery and throw in these prophecies and the way things would slowly come to pass as you watch the movie. I also was like, I'm kind of bored because this is not my kind of weird. This is not sci-fi. This is not, there's no guns. The action is super like visceral and violent, but at the same time, it's like, it's not the type of action that I tend to gravitate towards. So what I'm saying in my dislike section at this point is all personal input. It's all just me. Not saying that the stuff wasn't good. I recognize that it was good, but it's just not my bag when it comes to the witches and the Norse stuff. Although I thought the ravens, and every time the raven showed up, that was dope. It really made itself, the mysticism was like very high in those moments when those ravens would show up. Cool stuff with the ravens. Biggest dislike to me, and again, it's personal. A lot of the times the dislikes are very personal, things that you don't like. But I have to say, I didn't like the ending. I feel like it was not necessarily forced by the director or the writers, but the character himself, the Skarsgård, Alexander Skarsgård's character. Like, you had the perfect opportunity to have a good, happy ending, but it's like this thing that drives him made him jump off the boat and go do some other stuff. And I'm like, man, I sure would have liked to see things play out a different way. Again, maybe that's just a personal preference. Maybe I'm a sucker because I like happy endings all the time, or at least when I see the opportunity for the characters there, I would like to see you take it, like use common sense. And in that moment, I don't feel like the Northman, the main character, used good common sense. Like, he used that old school thinking, that mystic, my family will never be safe, I must go and do. And it's like, why are you doing that, bro? You could easily just sail off into the sunset and have a life. But you know, things happen the way they happen. And when the movie ended, I felt myself saying like, I wish this would have went another way. But it is what it is. I do feel like the movie was a great movie. I do feel like the movie was top tier cinema. I just didn't care for the ending. And I think overall, the mysticism and the witches and the prophecy and the cauldrons and the little potions and all that stuff that's present in the movie, it's just not my bag, not my brand of weird that I like. I like different type of strange movies. So if anyone else loves it, great. I feel you. I think it was very good, but I didn't love it. And it's because of those two things, the mysticism and that ending that we get, that last decision to go instead of go. And that's how we end up. Well, that's all we have to say here for this one. Enjoy yourself, guard your heart, and go watch something good.